Here we're going to Woodgrain a 1946 Chevrolet Dash, and as you notice, I'm going to actually fasten the dashboard right to the wooden table, and we'll just use some screws right on the top where the mounting holes are. I do this with all the dashboards because it's important to have the thing firmly attached to the table, and it makes it a lot easier to wood grain it. Okay, now we have it firmly secured to the tabletop. Now I'm picking up my image with my large 7-inch roller, and I'm going to bring it right to the very edge of the dash and line up the print on the roller. We're going to start right on that edge, apply a lot of pressure there as we pull it back all the way to the center of the dash, and as you notice from this clip, it's printing the whole half of that dash from one end to the other with one roll. And notice that the roller is getting into all the indentations on the top of that dash. You can really see the advantage of using the larger tools to do the dashboard. Now here we're placing blending paper right on the center, and you notice it's held down with the magnets. Picking up the image again on the plate, now we're going to place the roller right on top of the blending paper with the print lined up, pressure on the roller, and then pulling the roller all the way to the end of the dash. There we go. Now, when this blending paper is removed, you're going to see we've printed the whole top portion of the dash with just 2 rolls. And the seam in the middle is right where the ashtray will be placed on. So that's why we did it in that way. I'm still going to print it there, but that won't be seen once the ashtray is in place. Now we're going to place the blending paper right over top of our image that was just printed, and of course we use it rough side down, and we're holding it on with the magnets. And any little bit of print that's on the other side, we'll just wipe that off with a damp paper towel. Now we're ready to print. We're going to re-squeegee the plate with the doctor blade there. Load the plate back up with the ink, the graining compound. Now I'll pick up the image with my smaller roller, and I'm going to print it right in between the 2 pieces of blending paper. A little bit of pressure to get down in that contour, right on top of the paper, and then lift straight up. Now remove the paper straight up off the piece, and as we do, we'll see the print is there with hardly any seams. Now we're going to use our pencil to wipe away some of the line left by the blending paper, and we're using the lead end of the pencil as a blending tool. As you can see, it just wipes away little lines to where the image is seamless. Now I'll use the detail brush to carry some of the other lines through. And you have to remember, in the factory, this was done very quickly on an assembly line type of fashion. So you're going to get a quality by this attention to detail, using these tools and really working with the blending. You're going to have a wood grain that's much better than was applied at the factory. So now we're just going to carry some of the lines through with the brush, and I like to use a dabbing motion rather than a dragging motion, but I like to kind of dab with the brush, and that seems to do very well. Now we're going to show how we can actually print right up next to the other image without using the blending paper. But you have to line it up just right. I'm going to print this side, use a little pressure to get into the contour. There we go. And if you look closely, you'll see the seam is barely visible. Now we'll pick up our image again, get in position, and I'm going to try to roll that roller right along the edge of the first print. So find out right where it starts on the roller, place it on the part right next to the print above. And I want to bring it at least to the center of the dash, right next to the other print. Now sometimes this will leave a little more of a blend line than if you use the paper, but it does speed things up. So there's a small line, and now we're going to show how to use the blending tools to make that line go away. So I'm using the pencil, the wooden end of the pencil, to carry through and wipe away some of the lines. And also the eraser, which is a little more aggressive end of the pencil, and it will tend to take a lot more off and move a lot more around than the wooden end of the pencil. Now we use our detail brush to take and carry some lines right through that horizontal blend line. And again, I'm using the brush with a dabbing motion, and I've placed a little bit of ink on the pad, the paper pad, and I'm using that as a palette. Then in a dabbing motion, I'll draw some lines, blending the wood grain together and going right through that horizontal line that was created by printing right next to the other image. Now when we're done with all these techniques, the seam will be invisible. Picking up another wood grain image. Now I'm going to be careful to print it right next to the wood grain print that's above it. You can see how the roller will conform to the contours of the dash. And there, hardly a blend is visible. Now I'll take my paper that I'm using for a palette. I've got a little bit of ink on there, and we'll do a little bit of blending. Again, I'm using the